Ukrainian FPV drones continue to destroy Russia's North Korean-made multiple rocket launchers. Drones costing $500 are taking out military vehicles worth millions one by one. Stay tuned for more details and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. June 27, 2025. The Ukrainian army detects a rocket launcher system belonging to Russian forces in the village of Prechistivka, Donetsk Oblast. This system was a North Korean-made M1991 multiple launch rocket system, MLRS. Units moved toward the enemy system with an FPV kamikaze drone. The drone operator targeted the rocket launcher's barrels. As a result of the effective attack, the rockets in the system began to explode. After the first explosion, the crew immediately began to abandon the vehicle. However, a massive explosion occurred shortly thereafter. All the rockets in the system exploded at once. June 2025. Russian infantry are attempting to advance on foot in the Sumy region, which is very close to the Russian border. Ukrainian army reconnaissance drones are detecting enemy infantry. The enemy soldiers are being tracked. The Ukrainian Army's Pentagon Brigade is moving in with kamikaze drones. The first attack on enemy soldiers scattered across the area began. Russian infantry panicked and began to flee in fear. However, reconnaissance units were sending real-time coordinates to artillery systems. A direct hit was made on an enemy infantryman hiding in a wooded area. Russian soldiers are firing at Ukrainian soldiers from their positions. Shortly thereafter, they move away from their positions and attempt to hide in a destroyed building. An FPV kamikaze drone dives hard onto the building, following the enemy infantry. A violent explosion renders the infantry ineffective. Russian soldiers are trying to advance by crawling in the area. However, the kamikaze drones are not letting up. They are hunting down the infantry where they are hiding. As a result of this coordinated operation by the brigade, the area was cleared of Russian soldiers. June 26, 2025. Russian forces launched an attack on Ukrainian positions using unmanned aerial vehicles in the direction of Toretsk. Soldiers from the 28th Mechanized Brigade's Air Defense Missile and Artillery Battalion, stationed in the area, managed to shoot down enemy unmanned aerial vehicles with machine guns. As a result of the successful shots fired by Ukrainian soldiers, Russian drones crashed to the ground. Explosive-laden unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, exploded in mid-air. Russian forces launched this attack using drones called Privet-82 Molniya. These drones are kamikaze drones manufactured by Russian forces. June 25, 2025. Russian soldiers are trying to advance on foot toward the Ukrainian front lines. Enemy soldiers are trying to hide from Ukrainian drones by taking cover in wooded areas. But they are mistaken. Ukrainian forces quickly detect enemy soldiers using unmanned aerial vehicles. They then send bombs to Russian infantrymen trying to hide among the trees. The bombs sent panic the enemy soldiers. The soldiers are moving in panic, and now it is easier to detect them. The infantrymen are caught in open terrain while trying to escape from the wooded area. The operators of the unmanned aerial vehicles are now able to neutralize the enemy more easily. Some infantrymen are trying to use a nearby building as a shelter. This time, FPV kamikaze drones are deployed. They destroy the structure where the enemy is hiding with an effective attack. June 27, 2025. A Russian infantryman had fallen asleep in a wooded area. He thought he was invisible among the bushes. A Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone headed toward the enemy infantryman. It launched a fierce attack on the infantryman lying among the bushes. There was a huge explosion. The explosion neutralized the infantrymen and set the bushes on fire. June 26, 2025. This is the city of Toretsk. located in Ukraine. This was once a living city. Families lived here, people shopped at the market, and worked in the mines. But now it's all gone because the Russian occupation came here. And all that's left is destruction. June 25, 2025. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones detect a Russian unmanned aerial vehicle control center. Shortly thereafter, Ukrainian Air Forces launch a powerful attack on the enemy target. The bombs dropped by the Air Forces hit the enemy target with precision. The Russian center is now completely destroyed. Thanks to the successful work of the reconnaissance units, the enemy's attempts to attack with unmanned aerial vehicles have also been thwarted. June 25, 2025. Russian forces' efforts to encircle Konstantinivka have reached a new threshold. The enemy has now abandoned large-scale attacks and turned to a tactic of infiltrating in small groups. However, Ukrainian defense lines responded harshly to this silent advance. FPV kamikaze drones launched fierce attacks on enemy targets. The attacks carried out by the troops were like death raining from the sky. Thanks to advanced drone systems, the troops were able to quickly identify enemy targets and destroy them with swift attacks. Even though enemy soldiers tried to hide in shelters and wooded areas, kamikaze drones reached their locations with precise maneuvers. The violent explosions that followed were a clear indication that enemy targets had been destroyed. Russian forces had now abandoned large convoys and were attempting to advance toward the Ukrainian front in small groups. However, Ukrainian defenses were on high alert. Between June 19 and 25, 2025, the Ukrainian Air Force, rocket forces, and artillery units conducted active operations in the field for 7 days in a coordinated manner. During this period, a total of 99 critical enemy targets were destroyed with high precision. The targets included dense personnel clusters, armored and mechanized vehicle groups, command and control centers, ammunition and fuel depots, electronic warfare bases, and forward observation points. Each target was identified by modern reconnaissance drones and radar systems. Coordinates were transmitted in real time, and the targets were then neutralized with precision strikes using missiles, artillery fire, or airstrikes. The tactical cycle was clear: detect, target, strike, neutralize, followed by secondary explosions. During the attacks, HIMARS systems, JDAM munitions, and Excalibur guided artillery shells stood out. Large-scale chain explosions occurred during the strikes on ammunition depots. Flames rising from fuel depots engulfed the sky. Convoys in the forest were detected by high-altitude drones and destroyed in open terrain. Many targets were destroyed by successive waves of attacks. These operations dealt a heavy blow to the enemy, not only physically, but also psychologically. Russian soldiers on the front lines realized that their rear lines were no longer safe. The radio recordings echoed with voices of panic. "The command line is down. The supply line is on fire. There is nowhere to hide." Morale collapsed at every point where the defense broke down. The modern, Western-made weapons used by the Ukrainian army rendered the Soviet-era defense systems ineffective. Old shelters and concrete structures could not withstand the new generation of guided munitions. The advantage provided by advanced technology cemented superiority on the battlefield. This 7-day period once again demonstrated to the world the striking power, coordination skills, and technological level of the Ukrainian Defense Forces on the battlefield. The neutralization of a total of 99 separate targets proved that no detail was overlooked in this war and that the resolve to fight continues. This is not just a number, it is the sum of every blow struck for freedom. Ukraine's defense is not taking a breath. The fight continues. Victory is shaped by discipline and coordination and belief. Russian-origin soldiers fighting as volunteers in the Ukrainian army carried out an operation on a building. Following intense clashes in the village of Kondrashivka in the Kharkiv region, they targeted a specific structure. The operation began with a direct RPO, Shmel, anti-tank rocket strike on the roof of the building. After the explosion, the structure partially collapsed, and the Russian soldiers inside scattered in panic. RDK forces quickly moved inside after destroying the roof of the building. A Russian soldier attempting to hide under the rubble was detected by an FPV drone. When the operators realized the soldier was alive, a second attack was not carried out. During the final cleanup inside the building, RDK forces captured a Russian soldier who had raised his hands in surrender. The soldier surrendered without physical resistance and was quickly transported to a secure area for questioning.